Alright, welcome back. We're going to make two pieces in this video. The first is going to be the dowel. The dowel is 3/16 of an inch in diameter and 4.5 inches long. And again, we only have to make one of them. Alright, we're going to start a new sketch. And we're going to choose this as our sketch plane. And we already have a circle right there. And there's a nice little tool here called Use or Project Geometry. And so basically I'm going to select that circle, and I don't have to even make the circle again. I've already got it. And that's my sketch. And then I'm going to choose Extrude. Choose that circle. Alright, and then let's see, I think blind's okay. Second end position. Okay, so what I want, and I want this on new, I'm building a new part. Okay, I want to have two different dimensions here. I want to show you that when you put it on the second end position, you have two different depths that you can give. Okay, so we can actually kind of unsymmetrically extrude this, because from that circle on that face, we need to go 1/8 of an inch into the hole. So I'm going to edit that second position to 0.125. And then the other distance, well, the overall should be 4.5, right? But that's going to be too long because, all right, I'm going to end up with a dowel rod that's 4.5 plus this 1/8 of an inch. So I need to subtract off of that 4.5 1/8 of an inch. And really cool, you can actually just type that in, that you want 4.5 minus 0.125. So that's 1/8 of an inch. We're basically going to get, 4 3/8. So that should be it. I'm going to accept, and I've built my dowel. Now next thing we're going to do is build the spinner. Alright, so I'm going to go to the multi-view for the spinner. And the spinner, I intentionally didn't give you guys the overall height here because I didn't want you to get distracted by that dimension. And it was going to be a decimal. It's actually an irrational decimal. It's going to have to get rounded. So what I want you to see is that it's a triangle with all equal sides. And so we're not going to constrain the height here with a dimension. It's going to naturally get constrained because we're going to have an equilateral triangle. Okay, so we're going to have an equilateral triangle, all sides 3/4 of an inch to start. Once we have that profile, we're going to extrude it 1 inch. We're also going to have to locate it. Alright, again, I'm going to model with this kind of in the right orientation. That spinner is going to be placed off of this face a little bit. It doesn't rub, if you look at the drawings. The spinner is actually 1 inch long, but the area for the spinner is going to be 1 1/4 inches. So there's an extra 1/4 inch of space, and we're going to separate it by, or split that 1/4 inch in half. Have 1/8 of a gap here and 1/8 and a half on the other side. So this is kind of one of the critical things, is we're going to start a sketch plane. So I want to choose this plane, but not a surface that's already there. So I have to say I want to make a plane, and the plane I'm going to choose is going to be what's called an offset plane. It's going to be offset from whatever I select. So I'm going to choose this, and now you can see that Onshape is letting me get a new plane, and I want it to be 0.125, 1/8 of an inch off of that face. And that is going to be where we start sketching. So I'm going to start a new sketch on that sketch plane. And I'm going to hide the dowel. Let's see, I never named it, but I'm going to hide it for right now. And let's just go ahead and we'll move the triangle into position in a second. Let's just make sketch 5. Something didn't get selected right, so let's start a new sketch and let's make sure we get that plane. I think it selected a different plane. Okay, there we go. So we want this to be horizontal and 0.75 inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and make 2 other segments to close that, and I'm going to use the equal constraint to have all of my sides be equal. like that. Okay, now it's going to have to be, I mean, this isn't the assembly, but I do want to try to get it in the exact position. Okay, so I gave dimensions to do this, but there's actually a different way to do it. What I really did is I found a line segment that goes through a triangle, goes from one vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side is called the median. And I created two medians. And it doesn't matter which two you create, all three are going to intersect at the same location. And then I made those lines construction lines for myself. Okay, and then I used the point tool to make a point at the intersection. Alright, that point is the point that needs to line up perfectly with the center of this hole. Okay, and so then let's see, let's hide that dowel rod again. And I want to get that point to show up. So I'm going to turn on this project or use tool, and I'm going to come down here and get that center mark. And now I'm going to use the coincident constraint to make that point have to align to that point. Alright, that 0.75 and my equal constraints, okay, equal, right, makes the shape kind of constrained in terms of the shape, and then my horizontal line for that edge makes it so it can't rotate, and then the intersection of my medians being constrained to the center of that hole makes it not be able to translate or slide at all. So my sketch is fully constrained, and if I want to extrude without having to make a hole in it, I could go ahead and now make a circle within this sketch too, or I could even, that hole's right there, I could use the project use again and turn that on and just kind of copy it there. Alright, so there you go. So now I have a sketch that's got the shape. So if I turn it, you can kind of see it. So now we're going to extrude, and we're going to get the triangle with the hole already there, and we're going to go exactly 1 inch. It's on new, so we're creating a new part, and there you go. Let's go ahead and rename this I called it the spinner, and this is the dowel. And then again, I can go back and add my folders. So I've got the dowel, which would have been sketch 4 and extrusion 3. Yeah, so I'm going to slide that folder right underneath the hole. Sketch 4 and extrude 3 going to get dragged into the dowel folder, and then I'll make a new folder, and this will be the spinner. Drag that right underneath the dowel folder, and in order to make that spinner, we created a sketch plane, a sketch, and extruded. There you go. The last thing I did do to my spinner was I added symbols, and I did that by sketching on 2 of the planes. I wanted them to both be kind of facing the same way, so I thought of this as the bottom of the game and this way as the top. And I'm not going to take as much time, but I think if I wanted to do a holiday theme and do some snowmen, I could have some overlapping circles and do like a little snowman. I could take some time to rearrange it, size it, etc. But after that, I did an extrusion, and I put it on remove, and I made the depth very small, like 0.05. So it takes just a small little cut. You could go even thinner than that if you want. Not sure what happened. Oh, it doesn't like, again, that edge to edge on shape. Let me drag. Let me get rid of that tangent constraint. bring this down a little bit. And let me get rid of that tangent constraint. Bring that down a little bit and resize that. It needs to look like they're getting smaller. Okay, there you go. Didn't mean to deal with all that, but there you go. So there's a symbol on one side. If I want the bottom of that to be a different color, I can right click on it and I can say add appearance to face, in which case, I don't know, kind of a white. Maybe that's the color that was already there, but yeah, how about blue for like ice? Okay, anyway, you get the idea. And then I rotated, and I did a sketch on the next face, and I did a Christmas tree. So I did a snowman and a tree. All right, so I mean, this doesn't have to be a holiday theme. This could be Ohio State versus Michigan. You know, just whatever. It could be something fun for you. Come up with a couple rivalries, maybe. That'd be kind of a fun thing to do.